A University of Maine System's Board of Trustees committee will meet this week to review a plan to demolish the longest-standing building on the Orono campus. This after facing heavy pushback from students, alumni, and faculty. Colin Gallagher reports.
We as students and community members are coming together to make the university aware and the public aware of the fact that this is a very unwise decision, that they should not be following through with this.
The Crossland Hall is the oldest standing building on a University of Maine's campus, with ongoing plans by the university to demolish the historic building, sparking heavy controversy.
The planned demolition is part of a long-term modernization plan and the need to create more parking spots on campus. The UMaine System also says the demolition is needed because of $10 million in deferred maintenance for the building.
Yes, it could use some touch-up like painting and things like that, but nothing major. The foundation is solid, the building structure itself is solid. No way would it take $10 million to fix this building up.
John McCormack worked in UMaine's facilities department for several years. Having surveyed the building, he estimates that it could last another 20 to 30 years. He also says erosion on the site's hill will cause long-term problems.
It slopes down toward College Avenue, and then the water runoff goes from there into the Stillwater River, and the steepness of the hill would erode from rainwater because it's too steep and the soils are very soft.
Crossland Hall has also been a longtime home for many facilities, including the Franco-American Center, a place for education on Maine's Franco-American history. The center will be temporarily moved to Libby Hall.
Having gone in there, none of the bathrooms are accessible for these folks. These people will not be able to use the restroom in that building. That's how ridiculous this is, and they're telling the public that it's going to be an improvement. And then also the next move would then be the environmental science lab. That's where they would permanently be after about 18 months to 2 years in Libby Hall. That displaces the spruce budworm research lab, which is the only one of its kind in the nation.
The original demolition was scheduled for this Wednesday, but a new permit obtained by the town of Orono means the current start date has yet to be confirmed.
We're losing that history right now of our roots. This building literally established this university and everything that it stood for, which was agriculture and mechanic arts. That is literally what we're about, is agriculture and labor, and that is a proud history that we have in our state, is hard-working labor, and that is something that we're risking a loss right now for a parking lot.
Colin Gallagher, WABI News, Orono.
A statement from the University of Maine System says in part, quote, "The university remains deeply committed to the center, and its relocation is intended to preserve and further promote Maine's rich Franco-American heritage and lived experiences, while responsibly stewarding our resources to maintain region-leading tuition affordability." A UMS spokesperson also says the building and its major systems are now well beyond their useful life, according to university and independent experts. Their full statement can be found on our website. Meanwhile, a committee of the UMS Board of Trustees plans to review the plan at a meeting Wednesday, with a full board scheduled to take final action at its meeting